We're here now with our OSU Extension Livestock Marketing Specialist, Dr. Derrell Peel. So Derrell, feeder and fed cattle markets are pretty much getting higher and setting records month by month. Is that a seasonal change that we expect?
Well, you know, a lot of times we see after about the first quarter of the year, the lightweight feeder cattle and even the fed cattle typically kind of come off a little bit as we go towards summer. We haven't seen that this year. And I think that's a reflection of the fact that underneath it all, we've got these extremely strong supply fundamentals that are kind of, offsetting the seasonal tendencies that we might have. Now, having said that, we may see a little bit of flattening of these markets as we get into the summer, but what we're seeing is that a lot of stuff that's been building for a number of months in these markets seems to be really taking hold and is pushing these markets higher.
So what are some of the changes that you're seeing that may be affecting these markets?
Well, most recently, in the last week or so, we've had some tariff news, which changes things, and that's been, kind of an ongoing thing, but we had some fairly big tariff news this last week. And then on May 11th, the USDA closed the Mexican border again because of some additional cases of New World screwworm in Mexico. And so that's adding at least to the psychology in the feeder cattle markets.
Yeah, so what kind of changes can we maybe expect to see from that border closure?
Well, obviously it's a positive in the sense that it will further restrict supplies, at least for some period of time. We've been getting in the last few weeks before the border closed about 20,000 head a week. So it's not a huge number, and I don't think in and of itself the numbers of feeder cattle is probably the major market move, but I think psychologically it has a pretty big impact on the market just because we already know things are tight and we're seeing these record prices. This just adds additional fuel to that fire.
Yeah, and what about the imports not coming in from that?
Well, it affects producers who really count on those supplies of cattle. It's probably more of a direct regional impact than it is really a national impact. But again, I think it does affect the market psychologically because it's just one more thing that tightens up supplies in an already tight market.
Yeah. And so what are other things that you're keeping your eye on right now?
Well, as we go into the summer, obviously we're going to continue to evaluate summer grilling demand and beef demand in general. As we go forward, we've got record high prices for retail beef. We've had very strong wholesale prices. As we get and most of the buying now is done for Memorial Day, but as we go through Memorial Day, we'll see how that played out. We always look back and say, was it a good weekend? Did we have good weather? Did we have a lot of outdoor activities that supports that beef demand? So we'll be watching that. And then we'll be just watching the way these feeder cattle supplies evolve. There are indications now that we probably are beginning a little more aggressively to retain some heifers for herd rebuilding. We don't really know that yet, at least from a data standpoint, but we'll be watching that going forward to see if we see additional indications of that.
Yeah, so with the grilling season that you just mentioned, how can we expect the border closure to have any implications on consumers?
Well, not in the short run. It's, all the cattle that come in from Mexico are feeder cattle. So it's affecting either stocker producers that normally graze those cattle for a period of time or feedlots where those cattle get placed. The impact on the supply would come after a few weeks or months when those cattle would normally be finished and they won't be there now.
Yeah, so with everything that we've just talked about, what's your recommendation for producers? What should they keep in mind at this moment?
Well, again, we're just trying to take advantage of these markets. We're in very good shape right now. There's a fair amount of volatility, so watch the volatility, do some risk management, and other than that, just try to position yourself to take advantage of these markets.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Derrell.
You bet.
We'll catch back up with you in a couple weeks.
Okay.